Okay, we're gonna start. So officially, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining. I'm going to not break the rules and start the way we should start, sharing my little story as I always do. So Themba entered a marathon. The race started and immediately he was the last one of the runners. It was embarrassing, obviously. The guy in front of him, second to last, was making fun of Themba and said, "Hey, buddy, how does it feel to be last?" And Themba replied, "You really want to know?" Then Themba dropped out of the race. So thank you very much to all of you who joined our inaugural live audience show last week. I encourage you to also join us wherever you are watching. Just drop us an email on rems@talkwithrems.com and we will invite you. Let me repeat the ground rules, but before then, and hello to the family inside the room. Welcome to Motivation Monday on Talk with Rems. We are in this room with our resident personal development coach. You know him by now, Dr. Thando Sibanda, and continuing on our positive self-talk talk. If you allow me to speak bad English, Chris. Let me repeat the ground rules. This is not a lecture room. Dr. T is not here to talk alone. We are all going to engage. So you can take notes, but please engage. It's an interactive session. We want everybody to participate throughout. So it's not going to be at the end where you come in. If you want to just ask a question, wave or write on the chat, we'll acknowledge you. And however, keep your mics on mute at all times until you have to speak. Only the mics are off. The cameras must be on. This is a visual medium. It's a visual show. It's not radio. So we want more than voice. We also want to see those pretty faces. And it looks much better visually when we beam it out there. Make sure you're not naked or nobody behind you walks naked. It doesn't make for good show. If you want to come in, as I said, just wave or let me know in the chat box. We'll let you in. Good evening, Dr. T.
Good evening, my brother. I'm good. I hope I'm dressed, eh?
You look dressed, and I'll let you know, Dr. T, if you're not dressed. I'll let you, privately we'll let you know.
Okay.
And I think everybody else looks dressed, if that's the picture that I see are accurate. I must tell you something, Dr. T. You left us very high last week. It was amazing. The room was lit up, and I know it's not going to be any different tonight. And thank you very much that everybody participated to make the room even more exciting. So let's recap a bit. On the same topic of self-talk, which is part of our journey on emotional intelligence, let us recap, Dr. T, by understanding self-talk again. What do we mean by self-talk?
All right. Thank you very much, Rams. I think it's very important for us to understand that it is not uncommon for most of us to keep a running dialogue inside our heads, right? Mm-hmm. So this dialogue can range from giving ourselves instructions while we carry out a task, random observations about our environment, or a situation, or sometimes, we're encouraging ourselves, sometimes we're discouraging ourselves, all of that conversation that happens within our heads, that is what is actually commonly known as self-talk. It's actually the internal narrative that you hold about yourself. It is your inner voice that is always speaking within yourself, and it carries a lot of influence, in terms of your self-concept and your self-matrix and your posture.
And Dr. T, you said also that it's something we do naturally throughout our day, throughout our waking hours, throughout the day, every time there is self-talk.
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. Remember, it's very interesting that we normally speak between 140 to 165 words a minute, but we think 6 to 7 times faster. So we are entertaining anywhere from between 5 to 700 thoughts per minute, and because we're consistently dealing with information, I mean, just in terms of our interaction with information, up to 4 million bits, per second of information is coming through. And we narrow that down to about 2,000 bits of information on the basis of our priorities, our worldview, our belief system, and what we deem important. So, and we are interacting with that, and we are thinking, we are planning, we're having conversations with ourselves. It's something we do so naturally that we have reached a level called unconscious competence in terms of our thinking matrix. Remember, Rams, there are 4 levels of learning. The first one is what is called unconscious incompetence. You don't know that you don't know, A lot of people do things and they don't even know that they have no knowledge whatsoever in that area, And then when some awareness comes, then you realize, oh, okay, I actually don't know how to do this. Now you are at a level of conscious incompetence. Now you are conscious of your level of incompetence, right? But it doesn't end there. Then, of course, after that, then you start learning, you start teaching yourself, you get to a level of what is called conscious competence. Now I know how to make pap, I know how to drive a car, I know how to change a light bulb type stuff. But then there's another level where now you unconsciously are so competent. For example, if I gave you a keypad and say punch in your ATM pin, you don't even need to think about it. You now have muscle memory. Your hands know where to go before your mind processes even what you are looking at. Now that's called unconscious competence. Now that's a level where you are so subconsciously tuned in that you don't even need to think about what you are doing. So that's the same thing with our thought matrix or our thinking matrix or our self-talk matrix. We are doing it so often as the day moves forward that a lot of times we don't even realize that we are doing it because we are unconsciously competent at it.
Wow. Now, the sad part about our conversation, Dr. T, you said most of our self-talk is negative self-talk, which leads to sabotage, self-sabotage.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, it's important to understand that we all have these patterns within us where we are practicing negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is where a lot of us realize, what, I wanted to speak, but then I say to myself, people are going to laugh at you. I wanted to do this, and then I thought to myself, and then I said to myself, we are all conscious of moments where we have had conversations with ourselves that actually stopped us from doing something that we should have done, or we had negative thoughts. A lot of times we are unkind to ourselves, Rams. We tell ourselves, you know what? Oh, I'm very stupid. You know what? I'm dumb. I'm this, I'm that. We are consistently speaking ourselves out of stuff. And research says up to 80% of our talk is considered what is called negative self-talk. Remember, they can be positive, but up to 80% is where we are consistently standing in our own way or standing in the way of our own greatness. That is the challenge.
Okay, then I think that's our good catch up. Let's move on to new stuff that we never dealt with last week. We have already started with self-sabotage. Now, I would not be talking to you, Dr. Thando Sibanda, if you never gave me a dictionary definition of something. What is the dictionary definition of sabotage?
Okay. Let me bring it forth as an example. Sabotage, right? There are certain conversations, right, that happen, and you say to yourself, you know what, I'm just not good enough, or hey, I'm a failure, or I just can't do anything right. I used to, have have a friend of mine who always used to say that when you sit down at the meal, he would spill something on themselves and say, hey, so and so, you just don't do anything right. You know, he's talking to himself, even loudly, and they're not like, no, but that is self-sabotage. You are practicing self-hate, you know. Why? Because self-sabotage, the word sabotage, if you look at the dictionary definition, right, it's an act or process tending to hamper or to hurt. It's a deliberate subversion, you know, where you actually go out of your way to sabotage something or to hurt something or to actually create or to hamper something from happening. So sabotage is a deliberate action aimed at weakening something, weakening an effort, weakening an individual, weakening an organization through subversion, through obstruction, disruption, or distraction, you know. And so we find that we do that. We literally deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct ourselves. That is the challenge. That becomes self-sabotage.
What are the common things? You know, you're speaking to me in general terms, but what are the common things? What are the things I must look out for that tell me that I'm self-sabotaging?
Well, the first one is procrastination.
Okay, let's stop it right there. You're hating me already.
I'm sure a lot of us here like putting things off, you know. People are always writing that book, you know. People are always writing that book. People are always, you know, finishing that course. People are, you know, procrastination is one of the clearest forms of self-sabotage. You know, guys will tell you, you know, we're all meant to clean out the garage like 5 years ago, and we keep saying, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. You know, and we just never get around to doing it. You know, so procrastination is knowing you should be working on something, but you keep putting it off again and again. You know, or where you start projects, right? But you never quite finish them. You know, a lot of us have started things that we never finished. We're on course number 7. You know, that we started this, we dropped it halfway. We started this, then, you know, so guess what? And also, so procrastination shows up there. Also feeling unmotivated or unable to proceed, even when there are lots of exciting opportunities. There's some people that you wonder, oh my God, if I had half a chance, I would take this on. It's exciting, it's there. But the person who is in the seat just doesn't seem bothered at all. That is a very, very clear form of self-sabotage showing up or presenting as procrastination.
Dr. T, I need to share this story. Years ago, I moved house and I had boxes of books in the garage, and I was going to, you know, naturally unpack them at some point. And then I moved house again, and they were still in the same boxes. They never moved out of that box. I have never done that again. The first thing I unpack now is the books, even if I don't read them. At least
if you move twice and don't unpack, you end up deciding that they are not important. So you never open them.
I like what General says. He says self-sabotage in Zulu is ukuzivalela ngaphandle. So true. You know, it's shutting yourself out when nobody's helping you to do so. That's very interesting. So look, I know all of us procrastinate, guys. Let's not lie to ourselves. But there has to be others, Dr. T. One of them I can think of is when we don't follow our dreams.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is actually where Rams, we dream of doing something, but we never actually do anything about it. We dream of doing something, but never do anything about it. It's almost like what happens. You know, this New Year's phenomenon is always a challenge. You know. Yes. And that's why a lot of times I go to sleep before 12 o'clock, because there's that ridiculous moment at 11:30 where people start saying what they are going to do the following year. Yeah, I'm going to lose weight, you know, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to take on the cause. It's well and fine in the emotion of the moment, but then guess what? When the rubber hits the road, you know, and you show up in January, a lot of those things just don't get done. Unfulfilled dreams is a very, very big way of self-sabotage. You see, what we need to understand is the fact that, remember, dreams are amazing because dreams work on the context of vision, you know, on the context of the imagination. Remember, the imagination is the faculty that sets us apart from any other facet of creation, you know. That's why impalas don't have imagination. Otherwise, they would have invented guns to shoot the lions, you know. Animals don't have imagination whatsoever, you know, but human beings have imagination. So it is out of our imagination. And another interesting thing, by the way, which works for imagination and works for our dreams, you don't need any sensory input, any outside stimuli whatsoever for you to actually dream or for you to use your imagination. So you can be in jail and you can imagine yourself free. And that's how you start connecting to hope. You can be in a small space, but you can still dream big in small spaces. You know, you can be in a very rough place in life, but you can see yourself succeeding and getting beyond whatever challenge you are facing. You know,
and you reckon, Dr. T, you reckon in jail, and I imagine myself free, is not delusional. When I'm sentenced to life.
No. It's a very big function of your imaginative mind, you know. The guys that don't see themselves free, you know, they make up their mind that they are gonna die in there, you know. I've actually heard of guys that will then commit a crime so that they don't ever get out, you know. A lot of times someone who doesn't see themselves out there, again, the imagination comes in, the vision comes in, you know. And so it is out of that faculty that we're able to dream. We are able to postulate a certain world from the abstract and bring it in, and we can live it and we can walk it before we actually see it with our eyes. You know, that's why today we've got cell phones, we've got wallets, we've got different things. They were first a dream in somebody's mind. They saw it before it became real, and then they brought it from the abstract into reality, you know, and then it is from there now that we're able to walk it. But you see, self-sabotage says that I can see something in my mind and I know I am well able to do it. If I push hard enough, I can do it. But guess what? We never do anything about it. Even if all it needs, you know, all that needs to happen from you is just to take a few steps towards that dream. A lot of us just never do it.
So, guys, I know Thabo gave me his excuse why his camera is not on, but Mopedi, General, and Pearl, please switch on your cameras. We want to see you. It's very important that we see you. Yvonne, why do you doubt yourself, even on skills that you know you master? I know this is Yvonne who wrote this, so this question is, I know it's meant for Yvonne. I don't think she can hear me. Okay, let's move on. I like this thing of faking till you make it. That's what Chris says. Now, Dr. T, we speak about this all the time. This faking till you make it thing is not what we truly preach on this platform, do we?
yeah, I can see Nomfundo as a hand up. But let me respond to the context of faking it till you make it. The challenge with faking it till you make it is that it's actually intentional misdirection. You see, it's intentional misdirection. And so you are being insincere to your authentic self. So faking it means I put up a certain picture that is not real, while I'm trying to make sure that the picture that I'm putting out there, you know, the backstory becomes it, you know, like what a lot of us do on Instagram, you know. We just clean up the corner of the room and make it look like the Maldives, you know, when the rest of the room does not.
It's called photo, Dr. T, it's called Photoshop. Nomfundo, hello, come in. We're listening to you, Nomfundo.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, sorry. Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. My question rather, is pretty simple. You're saying that we need to follow our dreams, but now how do you continue to follow your dreams when there are external disruptions that you cannot avoid, you know? And obviously, when you cannot avoid them, it means they bring some sort of inconvenience in your life, which then later leads to procrastination. So how do you as an individual manage that? That's pretty much my question for now.
Before you respond, Dr. T, I'm reminded of a story of a guy who came late at school, and the teacher asked him, why were you late? And he said, well, because Granny did not wake me up. So that was a legitimate excuse. And the teacher said, but in your yard, I know where you live, there is a big cock, and I know cocks make a sound around 4 a.m. Next time you hear it at 4, wake up, And for the next few months, the guy was never late at school. And one day he was late again. The teacher said, but why are you late this time? He says, well, last night we ate the cock that used to wake me up. So you can respond to Nomfundo now.
Okay. He just didn't want to take responsibility.
You are a disruption.
Yeah. Okay. So coming back to the context of dreams, right? A dream. I remember somebody saying that if you were to imagine yourself, right? Imagine yourself on your deathbed, and by the way, nobody on their deathbed wishes they had spent more time at the office, For all of us who are workaholics, we must just remember that. No one says, just another 2 more hours at ABSA, I would have been very fulfilled. No, for another 2 more hours, no, nobody really wishes they'd spent more time at the office. What really counts is whether you were able to fulfill your dreams, or you were able to be connected to your purpose. We're actually going to do programs that look at dreams and that look at purpose and how you can actually connect to that. That's why I love these conversational topics. So now your dream, remember, your dream is something that proceeds from you, and it's something that is connected to purpose. Now, a lot of times, I think one of the challenges we normally have is that we don't anticipate that our dreams need us to fight for them. A dream always shows up like a baby. It always comes as a baby, in the sense that when you are building it, you've got to fight for it. You've got a little baby, I've got a little girl, and guess what? I've got to fight for her, Sometimes she doesn't even want to eat, so I need to fight for her, even if it looks like I'm fighting her, but I'm fighting for her because she needs to eat. She doesn't know any better. So guess what? You've got to fight for your dream. You've got to push for your dream, right? And so obstacles must be understood as very necessary things that are there to help you push and grow in the direction of your dreams. A lot of us have dreams, but the first time we encounter opposition, we give up. You see, but then now imagine, well, if you had to take care of a dream like a little baby, guess what? And in time, your dream grows, and then it takes care of you. And there are times when your dream will be so big that you can't even run it alone. You need other people. Now it tells you where you should go. But guess what? When your dream is starting out, you are putting more hours into it. You are investing more than you are getting out of it. Whatever obstacle you are encountering means that you need to figure a way out around it, because as long as that dream came from you, it is looking back to you for its fulfillment. So dreams are very important. Dreams are it's not the same as just sitting and saying, yeah, well, I have a dream to go to America, or I've got a dream to go to Zimbabwe, or I have a dream to go to Botswana. No, dreams are very specific things that actually eat at us, man. They make us passionate. They make us, you don't sleep when you've got a dream and you've seen it, you've caught it, and that thing I need to actually achieve, So once you have that kind of compulsion within you, you will do whatever is necessary, to actually build it. But I want to say, Nomfundo, the moment you have a dream, anticipate resistance, anticipate obstacles, anticipate challenges, because that is what purifies your dream, and that is what strengthens you, and that is what separates, the wishers from the doers. The fact that are you able to actually stand and fight for your dream?
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Murakase, we are all ears.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hey, Tara. Just as a follow-up question to what Nomfundo asked, is there ever a time when someone is standing in front of your dream and you can't move because of this particular person or object or incident or a matter? Maybe for example, I'm an aspiring football player and there's this coach that does not want to give me a chance. Is there such a thing that someone is standing in front of your dream and you can't move? What do you do in that instance if that's the case?
Before you respond, Dr. T, have you ever heard of poison? Okay, Dr. T, you can respond.
Yeah, in fact, what Matlamula says is something that's of course very real, and it happens a lot. Remember, you when you catch a dream, right? You are normally on your own. A dream, in fact, is very personal because it's a personal compulsion that then drives you towards a certain direction or a certain purpose. But one thing is that, remember, not everybody receives your dream. So the responsibility of your dream lies with you. And that's why you can't entertain negative self-talk when you know you've got a dream to achieve. Why? Because there are these, these dream busters that always show up. Some people will show up just to frustrate your dream and just to frustrate you from getting to your goal. Now that is where, now for dreamers, words like persistence, resistance, creativity, I remember, is it Albert Einstein who said creativity is intelligence having fun, So you need to be able to find ways around your obstacles, because some people in some situations just show up to crush your dream. And remember, a lot of people, someone said the richest place on this planet, is not the oil wells of the Middle East or the diamond mines of Angola or the gold in South Africa. No, the richest place is the graveyard, because in the graveyard, there are men and women who died without achieving their dreams. There are books that were never written. There are businesses that were never opened. There are great poets that never, held the mic and released what they were carrying. Why? Simply because for a lot of them, something showed up to disrupt their dream, and they gave into the disruption and gave up their dream. You see, so whenever something stands in the way, if I sincerely believe it is my dream to do so, I will do whatever is necessary. Whatever is necessary. I remember, when I wanted to become a coach, right? And I knew I had to go to school for it because I didn't want to just give people opinions. I had to go and study coaching and study neuroscience, but it was a very costly exercise, very costly. I mean, for you to go, it was very costly. And I remember at that time I was a TV producer, and I would sit and edit and do this and that. I took the moment I knew that this was my dream, I actually, and I'm not saying people should go do that, but I took my 27-inch Mac that was like 2 months old that I had bought, for my edits, and I went and sold it so that I could go and pay for the coaching costs, for me to actually go and do. And the funny thing is that the day that I qualified on a Sunday, graduated. On Tuesday, I got a client that actually paid me twice the amount of money that I had sold the machine for me to go and put the deposit. And then I was able to go and sort of buy it back, even though I never really went back into television that big. But But I think the test for me was when I sat and I realized I didn't have the money. This is well over I take it. I didn't have the money, but this was my dream. I knew I was born to be a coach. What do I do? Negative self-talk said, just leave it, man. Just leave it. It's probably not the time. It's probably not yours. It's a very white industry. You're not even gonna make it as a black person. Why bother? It's too expensive. You see, all of those thoughts would probably have come through my mind, but I said to myself, right? So I rearranged my self-talk and I said, what is it that I have that I can sow as a seed in the direction of my dream? And that's how, other doors open.
Dr. T, in defense of Mahlomola, I still feel that we have not dealt with this guy that I believe we should poison, who's standing on his way. What do we do with this obstacle, this physical human obstacle in front of him?
I know we should look at options. If the guy can't move, then you move and find another opportunity in the direction of your dreams.
Okay.
That's yeah.
Nomfundo, I'll come back to you, but I want us to just move to the next issue, and then I'll come back to you, because I want us to deal with this one, because we are all victims of this theme. The next thing, Dr. T, that I wanted us to touch on was the theme of worry, because I know all of us respond rather sheepishly to worry.
Right. Now, worry, right? Self-sabotage shows up as worry. What is worry? Well, worry is actually fretting over things that really shouldn't matter. Right? I'm gonna unpack it. I can see Nomfundo is doing what we call in neuroscience. It's called visual recall. She's processing it with her eyes. So worry is fretting over things that really shouldn't matter. Secondly, it is fearing that if you fail, right? It's fearing that if you fail, others will think less of you. That moment when you actually think, if I fail here, people are going to think less of me. Now, that is worry, and worry is that feeling that says, you know what, if I'm not successful, my friends won't like me anymore. Worry is doubting yourself and your abilities, even though you know that you are very capable. Worry is feeling stressed and anxious, perhaps suffering from unexplained depression or panic attacks when trying to achieve something that is important to you. Why is worry a challenge? We need to understand that worry is a challenge because it attacks your self-concept. It attacks this thing called self-confidence. Remember, self-confidence is the tank, it is the fuel that enables us to do what we need to do. Without self-confidence, we would never get up from our beds. If you are never confident that you can actually get up from your bed, you wouldn't even try. You just lie there. You see, so worry are these little aspersions that come and they start eating you up over something that has not even changed. That's why nobody really solved anything by worrying about it. Think about it. We worry a lot, but worry itself does not solve. What solves is action in the direction of what needs to be done. So worry is a very big form of self-sabotage.
But worry is also, Dr. T, I think worry is very seductive. We all gravitate towards it. It's such a beautiful thing, because then you can blame the worry. You can then say, I knew I would never be able to do this. You can turn around and say, I should not have tried this. Something told me I should never have tried this. I should never have gone for this girl because I worried about it. So when you fail, it's a self-fulfillment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's as someone wrote on the chat, worry is actually the fear of the unknown. That is what it is. You worry over things that you can't control. You see the thing? We worry over things that we can't control. And because we don't have control about it, we start then fearing the impact of that which we cannot control. But you see, actually, that is not how we should be presenting. How we should be presenting is understanding that that which we can't control cannot stop us from doing that which we can control. And that,
Okay. No,
yeah.
you beg. She wants another bite of the cherry.
She wants another bite. Okay, all right.
Go ahead, Nomfundo.
I'm trying to remember what I wanted to ask, but I think it was along the lines of you saying that when you have dreams, we need to do whatever is necessary. And I have a problem with that because it depends how I speak as a woman, how people interpret it, right?
Right.
Let's just say I would like to be, let's say, a television presenter, and that opportunity arises. Now, I will remember that Dr. Sibanda said to me, I must do whatever that is necessary. Now, you get this man who will try his luck and will say, sleep with me, and you will become a television presenter. Now, where do we draw the line when coming to do whatever is necessary? Because I'm trying to follow my dream, right?
Okay. I said whatever is necessary. now, some people will break into the bank because they have a dream of being a millionaire. That's the easiest way to get there. Right. Now, remember, we are beings of conscience. Number one, we are moral beings. Mm-hmm. So again, when I say whatever is necessary, I'm speaking within the context of somebody, number one, who is in control, number two, someone who's got a certain degree of personal integrity, and someone who's got a value system, So I'm not necessarily talking in the sense of where people are so broken that they would allow themselves to be abused so that they can access something. Remember, if you outsource your favor to someone else, you will always rely on them to sustain it. And that's normally, that's always a big challenge. And so I'd rather, for example, make sure that I get it because I qualify for it, or because, I am the right person for it, So in the pursuit of dreams, guys, let's be guided by a very strong value system, by a very strong sense of moral compass. Remember, we've got what is called our conscience. The conscience is the security guard to your value system. The moment anything starts to violate your conscience and your conscience starts to give out that red beep, know and understand, you know what? I need to stop. Why? Because your conscience is the security system that the Creator gave all of us so that we could be safe enough and be guided, by certain principles in our journey. So even in the pursuit of dreams, and more so in the pursuit of dreams, because dreams are pure dreams are pure, and they need to be followed in that dimension. So if it's something that wants you to compromise yourself, and so when I'm saying whatever is necessary, I'm speaking as a legal person, I'm speaking as a moral person, I'm speaking as a values-based person. I'm not speaking as someone who's just out there, whatever it takes. No, I'm speaking as someone that has a certain moral standpoint. Whatever is necessary, whatever is legal, whatever is pure, whatever is speaks to your integrity. That's what I mean. Thank you.
Cool.
Mupedi is asking Dr. T, how do you channel positive self-talk when you constantly receive negative feedback from the environment that you are in?
That's a very powerful question, by the way. That's a very, very powerful question. Now, remember.
Sorry, Dr. T. Sorry, Dr. T.
Yes.
Mupedi, I just did you a favor. I don't take questions from people whose faces I don't see. So please switch on your camera. But Dr. T, please respond.
Okay. It's still a good question, though.
It remains a good question.
An amazing question. How do you channel positive feedback where you are constantly getting negative feedback? Right. Now, this is what I want to say. The rest of the world is what we call external stimulus. So the posture of the world is outside in. but your posture is inside out. So you are responsible for the stories you tell yourself, and not for the feedback that comes from the outside in terms of how you stand up for your dreams and in terms of how you actually feed yourself the confidence you need. Remember, your confidence comes from your positive self-talk. Sometimes your situation and your circumstance is so negative, is so toxic, is so problematic that if you are not strong, you can actually crumble on the inside. But your self-talk is your fail-safe mechanism to make sure that even in the face of opposition, you are strong. And that is why people who can't give themselves that positive self-talk, they break down. I'm sure you've seen within a work context some people who don't even have a leg to stand on, just even for themselves, because they've been so broken by the feedback they get from colleagues, from managers, and they just live in a toxic environment. That is where now you need to really look within yourself and say, in spite of what is coming at me, I know I'm a great person. I know I'm good at what I do. You know, I know that I'm not lazy. I can do it. And, you know, a lot of times it's about what you do, you know. I always say to guys, have you ever realized what Usain Bolt used to do, you know, before he ran? You know, he'd do that thing of his, you know. That thing was himself saying, you know what, I was born for this. Yes, his opponents got scared whenever they were like, okay, fine, I'm fighting for number 2, for number 3. Usain Bolt has done that thing of his. But that's him saying to himself, I'm great, I'm awesome. Even when other guys have said, we are coming to bury you in this race. It's the strength of your self-talk despite the negative feedback. People think self-talk must only be done when there is great feedback. No, it is a core responsibility that we all have in terms of building ourselves up so that we can go after our dreams, even in the face of negativity.
Okay. Dr. T, all of us find ourselves in moments. From time to time, we do regret it, but we do find ourselves in moments where we will respond in anger to situations.
Oh yes. Sorry, there's a hand, and Dilega has a hand.
Is there a hand? Well, yes. I'm glad that you saw the hand because I sometimes leave the view to do my other stuff. I missed the hand, please. Whose hand was that? Dilega.
It was my hand, yes. No, I
you got light. At last, there is light. Thank you.
Okay, so Doc, you spoke a lot about the characteristics of worrying, right? And to me, it sounded more like anxiety. Now we know anxiety is a mental illness situation. Where do we draw the line between the two? At what point do you realize that now I'm being anxious about this, or I'm just worried about it?
Look, I think my simple answer there would be, you know, anxiety is progressive worry.
Okay.
You know, worry is thinking, right? Is thinking in a negative light about something that you can't control. But anxiety is a form of apprehension. Anxiety is worry on steroids. Right? So someone starts off with worry and they end up anxious. Someone starts off with fear and they end up in depression. So the progressive or rather the chunking down, as we call it in neuroscience, the chunking down of worry actually leads to anxiety. Anxiety is where now you are apprehensive, you are anxious. Now your body starts having these chemical reactions where you start shivering. Now you can't breathe. Why? Simply because you feel you are so out of control and whatever is facing you is so big that you can't even scope it. You know, it's a very terrible form of punishment that people go through when they become anxious and they get panic attacks. You know, Again, it's a sense of control. I don't have control, and now this thing is just gonna kill me. But guess what? It starts off with worry. If we can stop the worry, and I think it was last week when I explained the whole thought matrix, right? That your behavior, you can't change your behavior unless you understand just the story behind it. Our thoughts become our words. Our thoughts uninterrupted become our words. Our words uninterrupted, what you talk about is what you end up doing. They become our actions. Our actions repeated then create our habits. Now, a habit is difficult to break because you've repeated these actions for so long and your body now has accepted that as a routine, and then it releases these reward chemicals and our behavior binds to it. And that is why change is always difficult. Why? Because now you've got to break a pattern that your body has adjusted to. Now, a habit uninterrupted and a habit repeated now creates character. What is character? Character is where people can now say, we know Ndilega is this type of person. Ndilega can be trusted. You know, once Ndilega says, I'll be there at 8, she's there at 8. Or Ndilega can't be trusted. You borrow her money, she disappears. She says, I'll be there at 8, she shows up at 10. Why? Character is now the visual proof, or it is the visual exhibit of repeated habits that were not interrupted, you know. And so you find that when you want someone to change their behavior, understand the mental frameworks, the mindsets, and the value systems that then support that behavior framework. And that's how everything is chunked down to a point where they are like this. It is the same thing with anxiety. You've got to come back and see, okay, it actually starts off as worry. And it comes from a sense of not being able to control, or from a sense of fearing the unknown, or for a sense, you know, and all of that chunks down and starts to eat the individual to a point where it literally becomes torment, you know. Apprehension is torment, you know, and so that's the downward regression of it, yeah.
Before we move on to anger, Dr. Tina, I'm sure we're going to end up with anger. Lebo writes, I once fell into the trap of having big dreams, but lacking the patience, drive, and integrity, I love that word, to pursue them the right way, wanting to take shortcuts, and that landed me in prison. I was willing to do whatever it takes to achieve them, including self-sabotaging. I didn't know it was self-sabotage then. What a tough lesson it was, but it changed my life for the better. I'm happy to hear that, Lebo, that you learned something, and most importantly, that you are out of prison. But, you know, it's a comment. Unless you want to say something to it, Dr. T, we can move on to anger. But thank you for that, Lebo. Yeah.
No, thanks for that, Lebo. Again, it comes back to that concept. And what Lebo says reminds me of, I don't know if you remember that movie, In Number, right? So, so I got to actually interview some of the actors, some of the top actors that featured in that movie, and we're talking about, you know, what is the message of the movie, and one of these guys said to me, no, this movie is about the fact that there are no good or bad decisions, no, there are only weak or strong decisions, you know. And I realized that a lot of times that is the challenge. Because someone says, no, it's not a point of morality, but it's a point of strength or weakness. If I want to be rich, you know, I guess what? I need to do this. I need to violate these principles because I need to make a strong decision. Otherwise, I'm making a weak decision of being poor. No, the moment we move decision making from what's right and wrong, and what's moral and not, into what's strong and what's weak without the foundation of morality, that's when we end up getting into trouble. And so there's a responsibility in each and every one of us, whenever we have a dream, to understand that whatever it takes is not a license to move outside of our moral compass. And all of us have a conscience. You don't have to be a Christian to have a conscience. You don't have to be a Muslim to have a conscience. There are laws that govern the universe, you know, respect, love, you know, understand your boundaries, you know, work in community. All those things, they guide us in how we relate with one another in spite of our religious convictions. And so those should be the guiding principles, even in the pursuit of our dreams. I would rather wait and I would rather put in the time that it takes for me to get somewhere than to try and take a shortcut, which might as well actually sabotage my future and what I need to do.
Excellent. Thank you, Lebo, for that comment. Anger, Dr. T, anger. And I want us to deal with it before I become very angry.
All right. I know you said we're going to end in anger. So anger, Rams, is using aggressive rather than assertive communication and not taking steps to change this. So people who are angry, right? Remember, anger, again, is a very progressive thing. We end up using aggressive communication, which can either be physical or it can be verbal, but it is aggressive. And we don't take the necessary steps to change this. Now that becomes a point of self-sabotage. I've met people who say, you know what, Mina, when I get angry, you just don't want to see me. You know what, don't do this because I'll get angry. You're going to step on. It's almost like we have a sense of pride in our anger. When actually that is one of the biggest forms of self-sabotage, because it says, you know what, I don't have control. So anger is hectic because it ends up destroying relationships, with others, family, friends, co-workers. Anger brings a lot of resentment. And you'll find that anger, a lot of times, it's got cousins like jealousy, cousins like insecurity, so a lot of things. Once anger doesn't just show up on its own. No, it shows up where there is what you call offense. If you take offense easily, it leads to anger. So anger is one of those destination emotions that are always triggered by something else. And normally it becomes a point of self-sabotage. I'm not saying that people cannot be angry. It is an emotion that we need to feel, here and there. But whenever you feel it, you must be in control. Anger does not justify being out of control. Anger must be felt in control. You see, then you know what to do. Then it can be productive anger, and not anger that then leads you to sabotage yourself.
Apparently, Dr. T, and guys will pardon me, I'll always make golfing examples. Apparently, Tiger Woods used to play some of his best shots when he was angered, either by a fan who's making noise while he's playing, or somebody moves while he's playing, or even when a rules official makes a bad decision on one of his plays, and he would respond with positive play and not fall into a space of anger himself where he self-sabotages. You don't have to respond. I just wanted to make that point. In fact, I thought it's not nice to end in anger. Let's deal with one last theme, the feeling of worthlessness. I think it's one of those great feelings that we also embrace every single day just because we love to feel worthless.
Oh yes, and that's a very, very big challenge, Rams. It's a very, very big challenge, because remember, worthlessness is where we exaggerate other people's achievements and diminish our own, right? Where we take even unfair or misguided criticism to heart, where we allow and let others put us down. Remember, worthlessness comes from the concept of worth. What is worth? Worth is the aggregate properties that bring value to something. So I can say my phone is worth something because it's got certain aggregate properties that bring a level of value to it. But now the moment we allow ourselves feelings of worthlessness, we disenfranchise ourselves and we put ourselves at a point where we don't really matter. And that is why it's always easier to say, oh my gosh, so-and-so is better than me. So-and-so does this better than me, And when you're asked to speak, your first words are, you know what, I really don't know, but let me try. You know what, who am I to speak? So all those are certain aspects where we totally disenfranchise ourselves. one of the key things I was taught as a speaker, I went for professional speaking, lessons, and I teach that now, to executives and people in companies, was never disenfranchise yourself. When I stand up here as a subject matter expert, I don't boost your confidence by downplaying what I know or downplaying my sense of worth and my confidence. Even if maybe I got my PhD, with maybe just half a mark, I could have totally failed the whole thing. I don't stand here and say, well, I know I barely made it in my doctorate. I hope you guys can just be gracious to me to listen. How many of you are going to believe what I say? You see, so those are feelings of worthlessness, Rams, and I trust that our viewers can really get to see most of these forms of self-sabotage, that they don't help us in any way, but they take away from us, from our sense of fulfillment and our sense of achievement.
Whew. Okay, I think we're gonna have to leave it here. But before I do bid everybody goodbye, if you have any other thing to say, to add to us, this is the moment. Let's do that. Maybe we can take 2-3 more comments or questions, and then we round up for today until next week. Anybody, this is your chance. Feel worthful. What is the opposite of worthless? Worthy. Worthy is the word.
Worthy,
English runs out from time to time, guys.
Maybe the legal needs to.
But I don't feel worthless for my bad English at all.
Sure, I can see Dilega's hand is still up.
No. She was saying bad things to me. Thank God her mic was off, so I could tell that she's speaking badly of me. So in the absence of any other comment, thank you, folks. Please send us. I go to the chats and give you a number. Send your numbers there so that we can give you notifications up front when we're doing things different. Oh, Matlomola, yes, I'll come back to you just now. So send us your numbers there. We create a WhatsApp group. We send you notifications so that we don't miss out on things that are happening as we go forward. So, Matlomola, one last comment. I don't want to make you feel worthless, and then we'll conclude.
It's a very quick one, and it's probably I'm just hoping Dr. Sibanda will appreciate and answer this one, however short he may be. You've given us 5 things that lead to whatever. But my question is, of all these things, which one would be the worst to have? Because I know they're all terrible, but which one would be the worst to have and to avoid?
Before you respond, Dr. T, and I understand where Matlomola is coming from. And I'm not preempting you, Dr. T, but would it help to say, when we meet again next week, we're then going to focus on positive self-talk and the themes that will help us to get to a better space? Would that help? However, you can still respond, Dr. T.
Yes. I'd say let's not preempt it. In fact, I just had to look at them again when he was talking. You know what? All of them are terrible.
Yes.
All of them are terrible because they keep us from being, our greater self. I get anger. It's as bad as worthlessness. Someone who's worthless, you can't help them, because they can't help themselves. People who are in anger a lot of times are out of control. You see, Tiger Woods was probably trained. Remember those guys, they bring in neuroscientists to really help, because it's a mental game. Competition is really mental. So you have to come up with all these strategies on how to make good use of this and that. But all of them, worry, procrastination, you know what? I would say, let's come back next week. Let's work at it. Then probably we can all vote at the end of the show and say, this one is the best of them all, and this one is the best.
Well, I actually think I like Leo saying, no, I've had all of these bad traits, and we'll share the story in the near future. We can't wait for that story, Leo. I'd like to hear those stories. That's the purpose of this conversation, not only to learn from Dr. T's wisdom, but also to learn from each other's mistakes so that we can build from that. It's cheaper to learn from Levu's mistake than to make it myself. But I also would like Levu to learn from my own mistakes so that you don't repeat the mistakes I've made. So folks, on that note, I think we've done well for today. Thank you again for joining. Thank you, Dr. Thando Sibanda, for your wisdom, your unending wisdom. And by recognizing your wisdom, I'm not feeling worthless at all. I'm just recognizing that you're good at what you do.
Can I just appreciate, everybody that took time to log in tonight. I've really enjoyed the quality of conversations that we've had, and I want to say thank you for taking the time and for being a part of this audience. You guys really are the people that make it happen for Rams and myself. Thank you so much. I feel honored.
Thank you, Dr. T. You spoke for me. We truly appreciate it, folks. And if you are also doing something fascinating, do share it with us so that we can also support you. I can tell you that, at least in this room, I know Mahlomo can also host a YouTube channel that I think all of us, especially if we do exercise, it's all those stupid things we do when we exercise and injure ourselves. Check him out. Do tell us about it, Mahlomo, at some point, so that we also support each other. This has to be an ecosystem where we support each other's projects and we grow together. Supporting Talk with Rams alone and we don't support you in return means absolutely nothing to us. Let's all support each other. And on that note,
that will make us feel as worthless.
I did not hear you. Goodbye and God bless.